Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers third party review. Fresh off of the back of TFCon, thanks to the team over at Robot Kingdom, I get a chance to take a look at the early test shot of the Planet X Star Saber, based kind of vaguely on the Alex Milne IDW run. This is a very early test shot, minus all the colorings, just cast in these plastics and standard, and straight off the bat it's pretty nice. It feels very much like the TFC Prime. Really loving what Planet X are doing at the moment. Now it is a lot smaller than his masterpiece counterpart. For example, if I bring in Saber, you can see, I mean, Saber himself is a majority of the size of this newer version. But that being said, that's not necessarily a bad thing, with the likes of MMC doing the IDW line as well, and their figures being kind of Voyager to Leader. This is very in keeping with those as well. Now, as previously mentioned, these are nowhere near final colours. It's got a lot of potential. Now, there's things that they still haven't done, obviously the paint applications, etc. But you can definitely see that it's Star Saber, although he does bear more than a striking resemblance to Energon Wing Saber. Now, weapon-wise, I got a sword with him. I have no idea where to store it in his vehicle mode, and no doubt, I mean, Planet X are normally pretty darn good at finding places to keep things, so I'd imagine this would store on him somewhere, and of course I didn't get any instructions or anything like that. Being a very early sample. Now, as previously mentioned, the build quality is very nice, even for an early test shot. There's a lot of die cast in amongst all of this. I believe these are meant to tab in on those arms, just to hold everything in. It tidies up pretty nicely on the underside. Don't get me wrong, the transformation isn't mind-blowing. It's nothing that we wouldn't expect. It is basically Star Saber folding over, pretty much like his masterpiece counterpart. Now, we do have Flame Toys doing a licensed version of IDW Star Saber, but the price point is a huge difference in comparison to this guy. We've got die-cast around here. It's not as detailed as the Flame Toys one, obviously, but that price point really does reflect that. And if you have their Deathosaurus, I personally think these look exceptional together. Just to help you all kind of gauge that scale, that's the MP10 Optimus Shine. Bot modes are a very similar size, so this is very Cybertronian, obviously, in comparison to Prime's more realistic approach, but I think value for money wise, Planet X are really starting to deliver. The likes of their Deathosaurus and now this, I mean, don't quote me on this, but they feel very similar to the TFC Optimus Prime. I mean, very, very similar. So they could possibly be made in the same factory, or at least in the same region. I think if you have that TFC Prime, then you know what to expect from this Star Saber when he reaches full production. Now, a nice little added touch, which I honestly wasn't expecting them to do with this version of the figure. If we just open up this cargo section here, and we can bring down the wheels. They fit in there perfectly, by the way. And we can pop these wheels away as well. We can detach this front piece. That's just going to untab, and I imagine all of this resistance around here, I think that's all going to be tweaked for the final piece. Now we want to lift up this panel like so, untab this, and then we can bring this chest piece out, and now you can obviously see that much like they did with the Deathosaurus, this can actually now transform up. Now, it can convert into its very own kind of jet mode, I guess. It's not the same as what we get with the Masterpiece version. It's kind of simplified, I think, to make it work. And again, please forgive me if I get this completely wrong. I believe the scientific name is winging it. And bring this up, and bring this one up, like so, from the back, and then these legs here down and fold down. And if you look on the side here, there's this tab here. When you bring these wings out, the tab changes location, so it's now a sideways tab. And the idea is to tab that sideways tab into here, and then there's a tab on these legs, and that should tab into this part on there. So it's a matter of getting that to work for us. Let's have a look. Again, though, I'm imagining that this is going to be something that's rectified for the final product. There we go. I actually went in first time, although I do have a bit of a curve on this front section here. Do the same with this leg, and we would bring out this cockpit section as well. Now, all of this would be painted on the final release as well, which would make the world a difference, because at the moment it looks very kind of bird-like, but just imagine that all painted up and kind of just soaring past us. And I've knocked the wings out already. They don't stay in where they're meant to, but like I said, this is early days. And again, just comparing it to Saber and Saber, big difference there, very big difference. We can also transform him up into his bot mode, bring that crotch tab back up, bring these down, bring those down, bring that around and rotate at the knee. These wings are going to come down either side, rotate and come down. And again on this side, down, rotate, down and around. Flip the chest panel open and then raise up Saber's head. And there we have Saber. Again, no paint applications at present, but he won't be staying like that. He will of course be fully painted up. We do have articulation on the head and go left and right, ball mounted shoulders, ball mount and a hinge on those arms. Hands are a fixed unit, but there is rotation on the waist. Hip skirts to the front, legs forwards, backwards, out to the side, bend on that knee, and the feet can go down and up on those feet. No real rocking motion, but all you need is a little bit of tilt to give him a really nice, sturdy balance. And here we have him alongside Targetmaster, and we have a Breastmaster as well. What do we think? I think they actually look, these two especially, obviously they're designed to go together. They look pretty darn awesome, like he could just fight, and that works for me. I think there's enough of a size difference between these two, being that he is a commander. You know, I think again that would work pretty well if we think about our Autobots being this sort of size in Victory, and then they go into their shells. Maybe the likes of the Fans Hobby guys are a little bit too small to scale with him, but obviously I'm going to be scaling this guy with not necessarily my Master Force line. Now to get our little Saber friend here, from here into his Breastmaster mode. Is it Breastmaster? I've always called them Breastmasters, but I don't even know if that's officially correct or not. It's been a long time since I watched Victory. What do you guys think? Do you think I should get the Australian release that they did a little while ago? I think FunPub have done a release of it again, haven't they? I do miss Master Force and Victory. Right, let's just rotate this leg around, and that's going to come up. You see what I did with the hip skirts there? They just come up and they sit inside so they don't get in the way, and then that just lines up on there. Same with this side, just rotate, bring that up, and that's going to line up on here, and then these are going to fold out like so, and out like so. And this is going to be the basis of our chest plate. It's going to sit in there and tab in, and then tab in on the top. This is more or less identical to what we got with his part of the jet mode, and the nose cone is tucked in, etc. Right, now grab your jet mode, and if we look, this is tabbed in just on here, and that's tabbed in just on that side. This again is tabbed in. These are tabbed in on the side of those legs. So we can bring those up, and these legs themselves are tabbed in at multiple points there. Bring the arms out and round to the side and pull and extend. Make sure that this back panel is disengaged. That now allows us to bring these legs all the way down, push on these feet, bringing those all the way down, and then we can now bring this leg all the way up, and in turn the thruster is going to rock out of the leg, allowing the knee to come all the way up to the top, and then this can line up, push and lock into place, and then come around and straighten up those legs, bringing this section here to the front. Then come around to this back panel. This is going to rock upwards, and as this rocks up, this will just slide in and tab in like so. This can come down, this can bring around to the side, and then this panel can come out like so. This piece here now slides up and tucks in, and then this whole back section just rotates around. And then to lock this into place, you want to bring this piece back in. That tabs on there like so. This top panel rotates and locks into position. And then we can bring him in. He is going to come in. The chest panel just pushes in on here. There's these holes, tabs just underneath the feet, which allow those to tab in. And then you want to lift the head up, and that's going to push and lock in on the neck. And here we have him all transformed up. Now bear in mind, this is a pre-production sample, an early test shot, but he still looks super imposing. Something slightly off with the head sculpt in my opinion, something they need to work with, and obviously there is an issue with that back panel just not sitting how I want it to, but he looks so dynamic. I loved the whole victory kind of show. It was very Gundam-esque at the time. Loved the animation style, and I think this does a very good job at kind of capturing a good balance between the two. Now I would assume that the various different holes, shapes, bends and turns in here that aren't used for any of the modes are going to be incorporated when we get a Victory Leo at some point, so they can combine to form Victory Saber. But for now, I think they've done an exceptional job. It works, it does what it needs to, and I think when this finally gets its release at the end of the year, it's going to be worth every single penny. Taking a closer look, you can see what I mean about the head. There's something slightly off about those eyes. The head can look up, down, left and right. Got some nice tiltage going on in there. The shoulders, this backpack isn't locking in as well as it should. Maybe something in there that I'm not doing. Like I said, I am winging it, so they can go up and down on a lovely ratchet. These panels can actually move out of the way as well. They can come all the way out to the side. Love this vintage system on the side there as well. Really nice, robust elbows. We've got some rotation in there as well. Fully articulated hands. Remind me very much of the KFC upgrade hands that we got for the original Star Saber. I mean, that is a mighty fine blade, and it literally just sits on the inside of that hand, pushes, tabs in wonderfully, and then the hands can just wrap around it, and it looks incredibly natural. We have sideways tilt, we have rotation on the waist there as well, and we have a ridiculously nice abdominal crunch forwards. It's just the abdominal crunch combined with that side tilt, get some really wonderful poses. Now we have hip skirts to the front and to the rear, which allow for the legs to come that far forwards, that far back, out to the side, upper thigh rotation, 1, 2, kind of bends on that knee. I love how the thruster section comes out as well. When we bend that up, it makes it look a lot more natural and kind of fills in that knee. Again, kind of very Gundam-esque. And then the feet can go up and down. We got a lovely tilt side to side as well. Now the thigh joints, the ratchets are pretty human-esque. The gap between the legs, you can move out ever so slightly. That's something that really bugs me with some figures today, that you have from about here and then about there is your next step on the ratchet. Taking off that back panel for now because it really was bugging me. You notice there's a locking pin just behind here which stops this backpack section from shifting around. You've got all of this articulation on these arms and wings, so you can kind of position them wherever you see fit. So there's lots of different variations. I do love just how kind of dynamic this figure is, but I can't get away from something just slightly off with that head sculpt. I don't know, maybe it's his horns look too much like ears? I don't know. What are your thoughts? And for a quick scale comparison, here he is alongside Magic Square Optimus Prime, and of course their version of Deathosaurus. Obviously Deathosaurus has the slight advantage of a ginormous wingspan, but that being said, I think they scale pretty darn well. I believe Star Saber was a smidge shorter than Deathosaurus, and they definitely got that same sort of aesthetic going on. If you're a fan of the G1 Deathosaurus, then I believe they are releasing the upgrade kit fairly shortly, which will change him. It's a different Brassmaster, different wings, and different animal head, so he will look more like that kind of flying Turkeysaurus that we got with the G1 toy. But really liking what I'm seeing so far from Star Saber. He's got a lot of potential. He's not quite there yet, but he's not far off. And here we have him alongside his Masterpiece counterpart. As you can see, there's a big difference in size, scale, aesthetic, and yes, my Star Saber is missing an antenna. I don't know where it is. But big differences aside, it's still a very unique, very nice looking figure. Lots of potential. Thanks again to Robot Kingdom for making this early preview possible. Now, I won't be able to do many more comparisons or answer many questions on this guy because I now have to forward him back onto Robot Kingdom, so it goes on to the next guy. But I'll try and help you all where I can. I hope you found this video useful, whether it's prevented you from purchasing it or encouraged you to put in a pre-order, then my job here is done. Until next time, myself and the Planet X Star Saber, thanks for watching, goodbye.